Hello, my friends, and thank you for being with me again today. What do you want clearer than this statement made by Putin? What could be clearer than this? Do you know the implications of this? So Putin says Russia is fighting for its very existence. Now, what are the implications of this? You know the Russian nuclear doctrine, nuclear weapons doctrine? That is one of the 4 points when Russia will use nuclear weapons is if the Russian state's very existence is threatened. Now, if Russia is fighting for its very existence in Ukraine, or at least that's where it starts, how can you win? It doesn't make sense. These guys tell us Russia must not win, Ukraine will win, Ukraine will defeat. And you hear the Polish politicians, and you hear the Ukrainian politicians and other people who want to be, famous for 15 minutes or 15 seconds. Coming and saying, or Ukraine will win, we're gonna make sure Russia will never be able to attack, invade, aggress any other country, and so on. How will you exactly going to fulfill that, achieve that? Yeah, we're going to beat them on the battlefield. Okay, how? We're going to push them to the borders of prior to February 24th, 2022. You know that by the Russians, they look at those territories that you say you're going to liberate or whatever as Russia. So that falls under the what? Its existence. So the Russians, whenever they feel like, let's say they cannot fight this war, they just start losing, and let's say the West advances. That's how they see it. NATO and all these guys advance. How do you think they will view that? How soon before they say, okay, our state's very existence is threatened? How long before they will do that? Whenever they feel like. And that's what's going to end. They're going to give an ultimatum. I guarantee you they're going to warn everybody that this is the end of the line. If you don't do this, we're going to do that. And then what? Well, you know then what? You have a lot of people, experts and analysts and politicians telling us that they're bluffing. They will not use it. Don't believe him. They're not going to do it. But on the other hand, they say this guy Putin is crazy. I know that crazy means something that, among others, you can't control yourself. So if you're crazy, you really are you're not rational. You can't control your actions in a rational way. That means you can act based on other instincts and other stimuli than this. Therefore, he is very unpredictable. But since you are so certain that he will not use it, it can't be your statement true that he is crazy. You can't have them both. He's either crazy or he's not crazy. If he's crazy, then you'll be afraid that he's going to use nuclear weapons because it can happen at any moment. All right? But if he's not crazy, then you can say that. Well, if he's not crazy, he's not going to do that. He's going to be more rational about it. He doesn't want to die. Well, a crazy person doesn't really take those things into consideration at times, if you know what I mean. So let's read this article a little bit and see what else these guys are talking about. So let's see. Reuters, right? This is from Reuters. Putin says Russia is fighting for its very existence. March 14, 2023. President Vladimir Putin said on Tuesday that what was at stake in Ukraine was Russia's very existence as a state. Speaking at length to workers at an aviation factory in Buryatia, some 4,400 kilometers, 2,750 miles east of Moscow, Putin expanded on his familiar argument that the West was bent on pulling Russia apart. Obviously, this could be used as a propaganda thing, to get people together because these guys attacked us, to defend ourselves and all that. But always look at the facts, and the facts are as they are. Look where NATO is. look at what's going on in Ukraine, look at agreements, look at overthrow over legitimate democratic elected government in Ukraine in 2014 with outside help, which is obviously a reason. Look at all these things, and you're going to figure out, or you're going to at least give these guys from Russia part of the argument. So far, I'm quoting, so for us, this is not a geopolitical task, but a task of the survival of Russian statehood, creating conditions for the future development of the country and our children. End quote. He said, Putin has accused the West of using Ukraine as a tool to wage war against Russia and inflict on it a strategic defeat. The United States and its allies say they help Ukraine to defend itself from an impartial style invasion that has destroyed Ukrainian cities, killed thousands of civilians, blah, 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 BBB. Okay, got that one. I don't need to be propagandized more than I am. Putin said in a response to a question that he had been worried about the economy when the West imposed unprecedented waves of sanctions last year, but it had proven stronger than expected. And that's a fact. And I'm quoting, we have increased our economic sovereignty many times over. Now, I don't know if that's really so. After all, what did our enemy count on? Question mark. That we would collapse in 2 to 3 weeks or in a month, end quote. He said, correct. They thought the ruble was going to fall the next day they imposed all those sanctions. He said the enemy had been expecting their factories would grind to a halt, the financial system would collapse, unemployment would rise, protesters would take to the streets, and Russia would, and I'm quoting, sway from within and collapse. I think this is 100% correct. Right here. They were expecting that. And how many rounds of sanctions the European weasels had? 10 already or something? And they're going to keep going. Why? Because it doesn't work. If it works, they would have stopped at the first one. Because that affects them more. Their sanctions imposed on Russia affects them more. So then why would you impose more? Because you hope something happens over there. So it didn't happen 10 times already. I think it's 10 times or 12 already rounds of applause, of sanctions. So if it doesn't work, what do? You change something. If it works, don't touch it. But they touch it 12 times. What does it mean? Nothing. And believe me, this, there are reactions, consequences to this action. You can see them in Germany. As they pay for electricity, inflation, people are striking, the standard of living collapses, and many things like this. The Russians are counting on that. They didn't impose sanctions on them. They imposed sanctions on them. So that's the fact. These guys, this is the thing. Russians isolated themselves or insulated themselves from foreign investments in such a way that when these things would happen, they knew it would happen. By the West reacted to the Russians' request to discuss some things about security and threats and all that, Russian security. That happened for years. We don't have outside forces, investors, that if they take business out, Russia collapses. They were very independent. So they were not part of the globalization. Because right now, let me give you an example of what I remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think because I had this sort. I heard this a few times already. That most of the antibiotics produced for the United States of America are in China. So imagine China. Let's say you get at war with China, and China decides you want to send antibiotics. You can produce antibiotics. It's going to take time. You don't want to do it in 3 days. Imagine what happens until you start producing antibiotics, medication for whatever. Nobody's going to wait 3 months until these guys are ready to supply as much as the other guys supplied. I'm not saying 3 months, probably more than that. But will die. There's just an example. Allow yourself to be exposed to someone else through so-called globalization, and we like cooperate now. Not like that. And Russia is not part of it with, how should I put it, with very important sectors of its economy. Okay, Mercedes leaves. Buy, oh, how many people buy Mercedes? You know what I mean? We're living. Oh, Nike left, like we don't have shoes or something. You know what I mean? Think like, oh, McDonald's. Okay, we want to be more healthy, be healthier and thinner. It's good. So bye-bye, don't come back. You know, all these things, we're going to go to McDonald's. McDonald's, you tell me McDonald's is a good influence. Yeah, it is like this. You know, always when you analyze something, analyze it, cost, benefit, and you say benefit, I mean you good and bad at McDonald's. Yeah, it fills your belly, but shit also fills your belly if you eat it. You know what I mean? So McDonald's doesn't give you something shit with the flavor. Do not tell me that McDonald's has healthy food, all right? Or you can tell me, but because we know it's not like that. So yeah, as I said, if I go and eat, I don't know, grass is gonna fill my belly at one point, but it's just grass. So these guys with the burgers and all that greasy shit, look at the reaction. Eat at McDonald's for about, I don't know, 3 months and see where that's gonna get you. You're gonna be healthier than ever. Why? Because you're probably gonna be dead by that time, buried. So yeah, you're gonna be healthy right there, no changes anymore. So yeah, they thought they were gonna grab Russia by the balls with these investments. That's why it did not have effect on them. And the Russians diversified their with others, like friends. They didn't trust these guys, so they trust the Chinese. And the thing is like this: the world is not a monolithic group as the Americans are trying to portray it. There's like 40 countries held under the Russians, the Americans' grip. That's all. The rest are kept at bay from time to time with threats, blackmail, sanctions, and all that. The rest of the world I'm talking about. But the rest in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, these guys are kept over there because the boogeyman. As the boogeyman, you're going to stay together 40 countries. That's it. But the rest of what? 150 are still there. So Russia was not, that's why it did not work. They were not intertwined in the system that these guys said, we're going to impose sanctions. Of what? To what? We're going to do it our own thing here. But that's not the point here. The point is this guy considers it a national threat as existential, very existence, fighting for its own existence, like in a corner. If you're cornered, yeah, and he said this did not happen, you know. They thought that it was going to collapse. This did not happen, Putin said, and I'm quoting, it turned out for many of us, and even more so for Western countries, that the fundamental foundations of Russian stability are much stronger than anyone thought. I don't think anyone thought. The Western countries thought, that's for sure. I can tell you that. But I think that was delusional. And not only delusional, you have these experts. When you have experts and analysts and all these, fantastic guys, if they have an ideology or if they think in anything else than reality and objective assessment of realities and facts, evidence, they will be off. That's why they say, well, impose sanctions on Russia, Russia will collapse. That assessment was made based on the information they accepted and they didn't accept it. So that was like, oh, we're tough, we're strong, they depend on us, we're the best. You're not the best. Look, that's a fact. I mean, taking it under consideration, you start blaming more sanctions. Instead of saying, man, maybe we're not what we say we are. But you can't say that because you have people like you, like others going to say. So when you guys are telling you that they are the strongest, they're not. Remember, empires not show weakness. Because if you show weakness, you're dead. Why? Because you have people seeing your weakness. I don't know if you're involved in a group, like a gang, like a mafia thing or something like that, and you see who's the guy in charge? Not the victim in charge. He's not the guy who's the most compassionate guy. He's not the guy there who's no, he's the most ruthless guy. He got over there because he was ruthless. He fed on each and everybody else's cock to get there. And when he got over there, he rules by them. He's not rules like, why don't you take my spot for a few days and see how it is? I can go on a vacation. No. He has to remain the same. I mean, but if he's showing some weakness somewhere, those guys are gonna take advantage of that and they're gonna cut him off. And they're gonna be the ones over there. That's how it works. You think life is different? When you get a job, how do you get a job? Oh, think I'm going to let you go and get a job and I'm going to be starving. No, you. I'm going to go and compete with you. There are rules that competing just go and do certain things outside of the building. I mean, but the rules that you still compete. You still, when you go to an interview, you say whatever you need to say in order to get that job, and he or she don't get the job. That's how it works. You have to be the most ruthless. You're not going to say, you know what? I'm not going to say that because if I say that, he's not going to get the job or she's not going to get the job, and I want them to get the job. But they don't want you to get the job. They want them to get the job. So you compete. Yeah, that's existential threat. That's the weapons. If you're losing in Ukraine, what do you think will happen? I mean, it's how should I put it? If I want to go to the store, I take my underwear on, I put my socks on, I do this, get the keys, get the car, go with the car, my helicopters, whatever. I do, and I flying over there. It's a sequence of steps I have to take. So if these guys are using in Ukraine, that's the existential threat of the state that activated nuclear weapons use doctrine, and then be bang. Don't tell me, oh my God, that's how it works. What I talk about, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. That's the normal reaction. If I'm gonna put something on it, yeah, and on it, on me, I'm turning on the heat or whatever. Or I say, there shall be warm outside. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, be just.